Why do I make these videos? At the beginning of the year, I set out to do four things, four major things that I believed will set my life in order to a certain way, in a certain direction. Number one was document, which is DC2 videos, and the next thing was certification, because I wanted to get. I'm a student of cybersecurity, by the way, so I wanted to get certified in, or I want to get certified in cybersecurity. The third thing was focus, and then the final thing was finances. So four major things I wanted to do. Now I'm going to touch on each of them, but today I really want to talk about focus. Now, documenting. At the beginning of the year, or late last year, I was looking through um, what I wanted to do for the next year, or at least writing out what I think or what I think I should do next, or what I think I should focus on next. And the next thing that came to me was, oh, document your journey, document your process. And at the time, I thought I really knew how to make videos. Like, I thought I was decent. And my plan was to be maybe dropping videos about, oh, maybe how I edited something, or the shots I took, or something like that. But I left school and I moved to Abuja for internship. And not even gonna lie, I got here and I realized I knew nothing, and I had to start again. Now, realizing that meant that, oh, I could no longer make videos about making videos, or make videos about creating, because I had set it out, because I had almost 50 videos that were lined up already, titled and scripted to an extent for my YouTube, based on who I was making videos, right? But I realized that maybe that was not the right step for me, so I took a pause on it, or I put a pause on it, and I started just documenting my journey in general, talking about the things I'm doing, and not necessarily my filmmaking career. Before you watch this video, I just wanted to add quickly that my videos are not edited, because I want to make it as easy for myself to make these videos, and putting effort into editing my YouTubes it sounds like a lot, or it feels like a lot. And that's why I'm not editing the videos. Like, I just record them and post it. And I'm going to fix this clip right in the middle after I talked about documenting. So that's where you are going to see it. Uh, I'm going to denoise or fix the audio, uh, and just upload it like that. Like, I don't care as much. The point is, if I eventually make something of myself, then I have videos that I can look back at to know what I was thinking at the time, or my process, my journey, the things I'm doing, and that's why I make these videos. Now, the next thing I wanted to do was certification. I wanted to get certified in cybersecurity. I'm a student of cybersecurity in my third year, and I'm on internship now. So I wanted to use the period of the internship to at least get a certification. I've been doing that. I've been taking some courses, or taking some of the prerequisite courses and all of that, but I'm still some way off. So I still have a lot to do in that respect. I think out of maybe 6 prerequisite courses, I've only taken 2, and I have 4 courses left, and 4 months left, or 5 months left. So that means I have to hasten up and speed up, right? But that's not even that. Then before I go to focus, I'll talk about finances. Yes, I also wanted to do something regarding my finances, at least get closer to where I wanted to be, and then, or take some steps consciously, or take conscious decisions to take myself closer to where I want to be, right? And then finally, focus. Now, I realized that my biggest problem was focus. Yes, I could do things, I could do hard things, but I found it hard to focus extensively for long periods. And the realization became very deep to me when I read Dig Down Minimalism by Cal Newport, where he was talking about how a lot of people spend so much time on their devices and don't know what's taken from them and all of that. And along with Dig Down Minimalism, I read How to Be an Imperfectionist too by Stephen Guys. And I realized that a lot of the things that were holding me back were from my device, and from me being in my head a lot about the things I wanted to do. So I decided to not use my phone for 30 days, and that was why I made the 30-day challenge. That's my first set of videos on this channel from earlier this year. And throughout the period I was not using my phone, it was the ending of first semester. I was supposed to write exams, final revision classes, and all of that. And despite everything. Oh, in fact, I almost missed the test, right? But I didn't eventually. But despite, I knew that that season was going to be extremely choked, and I was going to have to do a lot of things. But I still decided to do it because what's the worst that could happen, right? So I got off my phone for an entire month, and my focus improved. I could focus extensively for long hours. In fact, it reflected on a couple of things, on a couple of projects I worked on at the time. I remember in the middle of exams, I had a shoot for a conference, like a promo video, and I shot it on Monday, the full day on Monday. It was supposed to be just a few hours, but full day on Monday, and then I had to prepare on Tuesday, which is crazy, right? And the video was supposed to play in chapel on Wednesday, so I shot it on Monday, got to my hostel, went to sleep. Anytime I woke up the next morning, I think I woke up like 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. And then I went to write my exam by 8:30, wrote the second paper and came back. Then I was exhausted obviously, but I knew that this is maybe the time that my focus will eventually pay off. So I sat down by like 12 a.m. and from 12 to 5 a.m. I cut it and I finished the video and it was ready to play. In fact, because of my, or I would say that this is one video that I made and there were no corrections, like there was no review. Oh, change this. Oh, we didn't like this. And now that was something I had in my head. I didn't know the impact that had on maybe what I was doing. And now recently I realized that I've been falling back down the focus spiral. Like I was losing, well, I've been losing focus. I remember right now I've been cutting some episodes of a podcast, and for an entire week I realized that maybe I only cut about 5 episodes. But when I decided to actually attempt to focus, I could cut 6 episodes in 2 days, which is crazy because why that means I could have finished the entire podcast of like 13 episodes in 1 week instead of stretching it over 2 weeks, right? And I began to see these patterns in a lot of places. Oh, projects are supposed to take me shorter time, I was spending too much time on it, and all of that. And I realized that yes, I need to fix my focus. So I decided I was going to read Deep Work by the same Carl Newport that I read or that wrote the term minimalism. At the time that I decided to read Deep Work, yes, I knew it was on my reading list for maybe for the next few months, but I didn't know how urgent it was because I knew, yes, that Deep Work is always going to separate you from shallow work, right? So I knew that I wanted to read Deep Work, but I didn't know when I was going to read it. So at the time I was reading uh getting or yes, How to Get Rich or something like that by J.O. Collins. Oh, The Simple Path to Wealth. Yes, The Simple Path to Wealth by J.O. Collins, and he was talking about um investing, the stock market, and all of those things. And I realized that oh yes, if I really wanted to read Deep Work, then I had to finish that book fast. So I finished it fast. Took what I could take from it, and then I started to read Deep Work. And a lot of the things that I was thinking about began to or started becoming clear to me. Like I remember talking about this project that in 5 hours I was able to complete it, and looking back at it, according to Carl Newport, it says, "Oh, our best work come when we're extremely focused and we stretch our minds, we do all of that." Because I put a lot of constraints on myself. I knew what I wanted to do, and I said, "Oh, I'm just going to sit down and not stand up till I finish it." And I did that. And I remember something like this to happen sometime late last year. I shot a commercial for a clothing brand or a campaign for them, and I shot it on Saturday. And my entire week was busy. I had to deliver a couple things. So from Sunday to next Saturday, I couldn't edit it. But the next Sunday, I said, oh, because I was supposed to deliver in a week, and it was supposed to be due that day. So I sat down at like 2 p.m. or yes, after we finished chapel service in school, and I sat down at like 2 p.m. and by 7 I was done. And it just made me realize that oh, a lot of things can come with focus because I didn't do any other thing. I just sat down there and edited it, and the work started to come to life, right? So I realized that oh, focus was the next best thing or next thing I needed to fix. And I know that if fixing my focus now, or I know that fixing my focus now is going to help me in the long run with or the 4 things I said I really wanted to do this year. Now for finances, a couple of the plans are in motion already, a couple of things I'm already doing. I'm not going to go into too much detail. But for focus now, I'm really trying to fix my focus. And This is me coming out to tell you that focus can or focusing on things can change a lot of things in your life, in your process, and all of that. And I believe that by the time I finish reading Deep Work, I will have a lot of things to share, because a couple of the things that I didn't necessarily understand have become clear. I remember earlier this morning, I was reading and I was talking about the paradox between being busy and being productive. That a lot of the intellectual environments we work in, like let's say a lecturer in school, or a student or something like that, a lot of those intellectual environments, there's a fine line, very fine line between being busy and being productive, because usually there is no metric to indicate that you are being very productive. So what we instead do is to take on more tasks, and we end up being very busy to the extent that we end up doing nothing. So it's why a lot of times, let's say at the end of a period of time, you feel like, oh yes, I've been doing a lot of things, but I also feel like I've not been doing anything. And that's because you have just been busy, you have not been productive, right? And I've begun to realize that being productive means saying no to a lot of things, reclaiming your time back, focusing extensively on doing the things that actually move the needle in your life, in your business, and in all of this things, like focusing on doing the needle moving tasks, the tasks that are going to take you in the direction you want to go. And yes, I believe focus is the next best thing that I need to fix. What else was I going to say? Well, I'm excited to see where the journey of focus takes me, because I realized that, well, I'm becoming a lot more clear about what I want to do and the direction I want to go in as a creative. And I think it's very important that I only know focus. I mean, if we look at the greats, and I'm talking about the greats in like recent times, people like Virgil Abloh, people like Basquiat, and all of those great artists, a lot of the work that they put out was from a frame of mind of deep focus, intense focus. And I believe that, yes, I've seen that some of my best work, I mean, based on what I knew at the time, came from focus. And I'm excited to see where the next phase goes. I cannot continue talking like this. I'm tired. But yes, I cannot continue talking like this. Excited to see where the focus journey goes. And yes, see you in the next video that I make.